Greetings my fellow animers, it's the Animer guy here. I made a video on L's speech on monsters, and on that video I pointed out my idea that Light was more monster than L in a way that L described what true monster really is. And that's how Light was able to defeat L. But now, I'd like to talk about in what way Nier outplayed Light. What was Nier's contribution and role? As for Mello, I already made a detailed video on how Mello was the key player on the loss of Kira. First of all, it was Mello and Nier's team play that made them defeat Kira. And in this video, I'm going to talk about Nier's strong point and specialty. Nier is very wise for his age. He prefers to stay rational in any given situation. After he hears about L's death, he simply said, "If you can't beat the game, if you can't solve the puzzle, you're nothing but a loser." Which was quite self-explanatory statement, that he sees any obstacles and challenges as merely a game. And if you lose the game, you're just a loser. That's his philosophy. He's very detached, although he did respect L, and he obviously wasn't happy about L's death. He still didn't take it as that much of a tragic event. L lost the game, that was it. But he still cares about his team members, and he's a very good leader. The reason that Nier captured Kira was neither to compete Mello nor to avenge L. He just did his job. He was chosen as the official successor of L, and there was a notorious criminal named Kira still on the loose, and he caught the criminal as it's his duty to do so. Unlike Mello, who chased Kira to prove that he is better than Nier, Nier just did his duty. And that's why I think Nier was better suited as L's successor. And of course, he's not perfect. There was still qualities that he lacked, but it was filled with Mello. His rational mind helps him to not waver and helps him to guard his own ideals and justice. We can see that from his attitude when US President gave up on Kira and stopped every activity against Kira. He was furious that one of the biggest nations just gave up, and his determination fired even more. No matter how convincing and reasonable the crime is, in his eyes, crime is just a crime. He doesn't believe that world and society can be in only one man's ideals. On the opposite, he goes by the law, which was accepted by many people, not only by a single individual. On the last episode, after when Light gave his iconic speech about society and justice, Nier simply said, "No, you're just a murderer, and Death Note is the worst murder weapon in human history." Murder is wrong, and Nier will never change his mind on that. That's one of the strong points of him, which makes him like L in a way. L also had his rational and solid view on society that once he said before he met Light, before he discovered that Light is Kira. Kira is just a kid who's deluded that he's some sort of god. So likewise, in L's mind, murder is a murder. No matter what reason you have, crime is a crime. If you waver for even a split second, and Kira will manipulate you, Kira will come as your friend, as your team member, as your partner, and then he will catch you off guard. So you have to stand strong and stay rational in order to go against Kira. And one thing that Nier had and Light didn't have was patience and humility. Nier accepted his own flaws and inadequacy. He accepted that he alone isn't going to win against Kira. So he needs his companions, he needs others' strength to achieve his goal. That realization and humility is Nier's strongest point, let me tell you that. Which makes him a very strong detective. Using the power of many and the power of trust, At the same time, also, Mello had the same realization. Thus, they combined their power, which was powerful enough to defeat Kira. I think L lacked a little bit of teamwork. Although he accepted his task force, he insisted on doing certain tasks alone. He claimed that it's better that way for him. He insisted that it was comfortable for him to work alone in certain situations, and that, I think, was L's weakness. And lastly, the way Nier went with L's way rather than force tells us what type of person he is. Now watch the scene closely.
まず一つ目は L キラ、X キラを殺してしまい、ノートを没収する。が、このやり方は絶対にやりません。
なぜだ？
私たちのやり方ではないからです。
私たち？
そうです。人を殺しておいて裁きが止まったからという自己承諾的なやり方は私や L のやり方ではない。
At this moment, Nier knows Light is Kira, no doubt about it. It was clear as day. But they didn't have the evidence, and they had an option to raid Light's place and spill the truth out of him, maybe torturing him, maybe by threatening him. But he didn't do it that way. As he said, it isn't the way we do, meaning that it's not L's way. Then he made Light to reveal himself at the end, making the task force and his own crew members a witness of Kira's capture with a solid evidence. Now, summing up everything, Light never actually asked other people's opinion in his plan. Everything up until his death was his own reasoning, own planning. Everything was his own. Although he employed, as for example Mikami, he chose Mikami as a part of his plan, and same goes for Takeda as a part of his plan, but he never asked other people's opinion to make up his plan, and that made him leave a blind spot where he can't see. Even a brilliant minds like Light, even the most genius had the blind spots. So to fill that, you need other people's opinions.